Welcome back, McFly subscribers. We're continuing last month's series for the beginner tire, and I ended that series with 4 fly patterns that I recommend for the beginner to start with. And this month's series is a continuation on that, with 4 more patterns that I believe will be a great next step for the beginner to try. Last week, I showed you all how to tie the hare's ear nymph, a great next step for when you want to tie nymphs, and this week I will be showing you how to tie the rabbit leech, which I believe to be a great pattern to try after the woolly bugger. And as you might have noticed, I will be showing you a couple different variations. Now, we will start this tutorial very soon, but in case you haven't seen this channel before, this is McFly Angler.
Starts now.
Okay, let's start tying. Place a hook securely in your vise. For a hook, I'm using Risen's Streamer 200 in size 12. This is a 4x long hook with a heavy wire, and you can see that it does have a fairly long shank with a down eye. We will also need some weight, and for that, I'm going to add this lead-free wire in the .020 size. I like to put these spools in a bobbin holder for easy application. Let's wind this onto our hook. I'm making 6 wraps today, but you can make more or less depending on how heavy you want these. Break off the wire and push the wraps together. Then I like to position this slightly forward on the hook shank. Now we need some thread, and today I'm using Viva's 6/0 in white. It is a round thread that is fairly strong. By the way, you could use other colors of thread here. The majority of the wraps will be covered by the material, with only the head and whip finish showing. So some people like to use bright colors like these for a hot spot, or slightly muted colors also for a hot spot. Even black or brown could also work, giving you the look of an eye in the front. By the way, I've been exclusively using Viva's thread for quite a while now, because I feel it's the best tying thread on the planet, and I want you all to be able to experience using it. So I worked out a deal for you all from Viva's directly, and I will explain more about this at the end of this video. Okay, start your thread right behind the hook eye, but don't snip off the waist yet. Use the tag end to help jump over the lead bump, and then you can snip it off. Now go back up over the lead and back down to smooth out the bump, and then bring your thread down to the start of the hook bend. Now we need some rabbit strips, and today I'm tying this in white to look like a little bait fish. However, these strips come in many colors. Solid colors like this, but they also come barred as well for some variations. And this crayfish orange has some bright orange tips, but use any color you wish. These strips have the hair fiber pointing one direction here, as you can see that the fiber is pointing forward. For this way of tying a leech, I will be using the fiber off the back here, so rip off a pinch of fur like this, and I find that it's easier to manage the bunch if we wet the fiber. Okay, measure out a hook shank length for the tail, and then tie this in at the rear of the fly, and using what's called a pinch wrap is helpful here. Then tie this up the hook shank until you reach the lead bump. You might have to cut some of the fiber off though if it extends past the bump. We're trying to keep a taper here. Once you clean up the hook shank with wraps, then bring your thread down to about the hook point mark. While optional, I like to add a little flash. You could use crystal flash, or in this case I'm using Flashaboo. Cut off 2 strands from the hank, and then I find wetting the strands helps them stay together. Okay, cut them flush, then tie them in on the side of the fly so they extend just slightly past the rabbit tail, with a few wraps. Then pull the forward-facing strands rearward and on the other side of the tail, and tie them in as well. Now we can cut that to the same length. We will now make something called a dubbing loop. Wrap the loop around your finger and back up over the hook. Then wrap around the loop to close it off. Then bring your thread up to just shy of the hook eye. Grab a dubbing loop twister like this and attach it to your loop, and then I like to keep the loop separated by hooking one side to this screw on the side of my vise. Now we can use the rabbit strips as dubbing. You could cut notches in a foam block like this, and stick the strips into it to stand the fibers up. Then grab a chip clip and clip the fibers like this. And here you would cut the fiber off at the base, removing the hide. But I'm going to use another technique to do this. Grab yourself some dubbing tweezers like these made by Risen Fly, and you will want to stroke back the fiber so it's sticking out straight. Then you can simply grasp the fiber with the tweezers, and now cut off the hide, which will leave you a nice bit of fur to put in the dubbing loop. Alternatively, you could get yourself some rabbit fur brushes like these here, if you don't want to make your own dubbing loops. Basically though, we're forming the exact same thing. Alright, let's place the fur in the dubbing loop. Then we need to make sure that the butt ends of fiber closest to us isn't sticking out too much, or it will form a weird head on the fly. To twist this up, we need to pinch up near the fur and then spin the dubbing twister. Then we will let go, and the thread will spin around and hold that fiber in tightly, forming a dubbing brush. Spin it up a couple more times to ensure that the fiber is held very tightly. And now you can start winding this up the hook shank. Use your rotary feature if you so choose. However, when you reach halfway, make sure you pick out the body a bit as you will inevitably trap some fibers. If you don't want to use a rotary feature, you can pull back the fibers with each wrap like this and hand wind them on. And this will trap less fibers, but you still need to pick it out. While doing this, I realized that I did not give myself enough room. So I am unwinding and will rewind this fiber with a little more open wraps. That way I will reach the hook eye. Also, I find wetting the fiber will help with tie-in, especially when winding by hand. Once you reach the hook eye, capture the loop, and here I like to pick out some of the fiber by the head. After it's picked out, I will wet the fiber, then pull the loop rearward and make a few wraps up over it and cut off the waist. Okay, let's build up a little head on the fly and then whip finish from back to front. Then pick out the fly. And also grab yourself a stiff toothbrush, and you can use this to brush the fly forward and then rearward. This will help release any trapped fibers. Also, I like to separate the fiber down by the hook bend to ensure that it's split perfectly on either side of the hook. Now we should cement the head, and for that I really like using UV resin made by Solarez. Just use a handy paintbrush in the cap to paint it around the whip finish, and it cures very quickly with a UV light and leaves a beautiful shiny head and also keeps this from coming loose. Okay, there we have it, the finished rabbit leech. Now you might ask, why did we cut the hair off the hide and not just use the hide to wrap around the hook? Well, that's because the hide weighs a lot and also will soak up a lot of water, making these very difficult to cast. Instead, we created a much lighter, less waterlogged version that can be tied extremely small, even to mimic very small little bait fish. However, you can tie this larger as well, or even add beads to change it up. Let me show you another version of this rabbit leech that you might want to give a try. Here I'm going to use a larger hook. We had used a 4x long hook for the previous fly, and now we will use a 6x long hook, which I feel will help with the stability of the tail. Also, we're bumping up the size to a size 8. I will be adding a brass bead in the 4.8mm size, and also an orange color. This will create what's called an egg-sucking leech. And you can see just how long this hook is, and it has a down eye. The easiest way to get the bead on your hook is put the bead in your hand and bring the hook point to it. Also, I will be adding even more weight than just the bead, with 6 wraps of that same lead that we used in the previous version. Now this has more of a benefit than just adding more weight. If we push the wraps together and shove them up into the bead cavity, it will stabilize that bead. Okay, let's start our thread right behind the lead wraps here, and yes, I changed out colors. I'm still using the Viva 6/0 though. Let's wrap up over the lead wraps, and then bring our thread down to the start of the hook bend. Actually, I like to wrap into the bend slightly, and then back up, leaving a little thread base for the materials to sit on. I am changing to a dark brown rabbit strip, and a black could also work. You can see here that the strips have these curves to them, so we can straighten them at the end where the fiber is sweeping backwards, just by pulling tightly on the strips. Let's measure this out so we have about a hook gap length hanging off the back of the hook, then separate the fibers by the hook eye, and cut the hide off at that measurement. I also like to cut a notch into the back of the hide as well, which will make this even more tapered and swim better in the water. Place the strip on top of the hook shank so the end is right up against the bead, then choke back the fiber and wet it where the hide is exposed right about where our thread rests. Now we capture the bare hide and make 4 to 5 very tight wraps to hold it into place. Then pull the strip rearward and wrap up to about halfway up the hook shank, and then separate the fiber again, wrap over it with some very tight wraps a few more times, pull the strips rearward and bring your thread up to just behind the bead. Now we will capture the tip of the hide and make quite a few very tight wraps. Now if your hide is sticking up past the bead, like mine is here, then clip it off so it rests right behind the bead. Now we will wrap up and down the tip here to clean it up. And by the way, when tying on extra long hooks like this, you want to use your other hand to support the hook. While these are strong, they can wiggle quite a bit, which makes tying difficult. Okay, let's add some flash by tying in 2 strands at the side like so. Then wrap them around and tie them in on the other side. And flash isn't necessary, so it's up to you whether you add it or not, but clip them to the same length. Now let's form another dubbing loop and close it off so it's right in front of the rabbit strip. Here I'm going to use something called a pedagene clip. This is a base that does the same thing as that foam block that I showed you earlier. It just has a clear clip so you can see the fiber. Clip this, then cut off the hide, and you're left with fiber that you can just place in the dubbing loop. Alternatively, you could also just tie the hide in and wrap it. However, like I said, it will bulk this up a bit too much in my opinion. After placing the fiber in the loop, spin it up and start wrapping this to form the collar. On this fly, I would hand wrap it as you will get more control, and we are making wraps very close together, which will trap too many fibers. Also, you will want to stuff a few wraps up under the bead as well. Okay, when you use up the loop, then capture it right behind the bead, cut off the waist, make a few more wraps under the bead to really ensure that it's tied down tight, whip finish, and cement. Okay, let's pick out the collar and brush it out as well. And there we have it. The fly is now finished. This version is more of a leech, mainly because it's tied with the darker color, but I find that the longer tail helps mimic a leech a little better as well. While there is some of the hide in the back portion, it's not too much and still can be casted without getting too waterlogged. And some people tie these on shorter shank hooks and let that tail stick off the back quite a bit, which you could do. However, I find supporting it helps keep the tail from fouling on the hook. And it also ensures that you get a good hook set if the fish short strikes this. And you could tie this version as well without a bead, but this one I showed you is more of an egg-sucking leech, which is a very common pattern for trout. So while both versions are technically rabbit leeches, they are both actually two completely different patterns, and will fish differently. The smaller one that I tied without any hide is very light and works best as a bait fish representation in my opinion. I use this pattern a lot when fishing the San Juan River in New Mexico. Every few months they stock the river with small fingerling trout, and the large brown trout come out of their deep holes to feed on these little stalker fish. And a white little streamer like this worked wonders in catching some big browns. You can strip it in, dead drift it, or even fish it under an indicator like a nymph. Use it as your lead fly and drop a midge or another nymph off the back. It is very versatile, and once you get the hang of tying them, it is very quick to tie. So it became one of my staple flies for fishing that river. The larger version with the bead like this I use as a leech, and you can still dead drift this. However, where it shined was long casts and stripping in. It has more of a jigging motion, looking like a leech trying to swim through the fast current. Of course, you can use this as well to fish for bass and lakes, and it works great for that. Now, like I said, this video is a continuation of last month's video, where I showed you 4 patterns, one in each category, that I recommend the beginner to start tying with. The streamer I had recommended was the woolly bugger, and this would be my pick for the best pattern to start tying after you had tied a few buggers. While the woolly bugger taught you how to polymer materials like hackle, this rabbit leech teaches you dubbing loops, which basically forms a hackle of sorts. It is a technique that every tyer should learn, because it is so widely used in fly tying, and I feel using rabbit strips are some of the easiest fibers to work with when making loops. Also, these flies are fairly easy once you learn the loop, so in my opinion, it is the perfect streamer to tie for the beginner, after of course that they've learned the woolly bugger. Plus, you will already have the hooks, flash, possibly beads, and thread needed when you started with the woolly bugger, so all you really need to purchase for materials is a package or two of rabbit strips. However, you will need to buy a dubbing loop twister if you don't already have one, and maybe a pair of these dubbing tweezers. Or of course, you could make your own foam base and buy some chip clips. But still, this fly will not cost too much to start tying, especially if you're already stocked on materials for that woolly bugger. Once you tie these simple rabbit leeches, you can then move into tying the rabbit zonker, which can be tied in multiple variations, some with hackle as a collar, and some without. But these work great as larger baitfish streamers, and here are a few examples. I will link to this video of me showing how to tie these in the description section of this video. Alright, well I'm 2 patterns into this month's series on beginner patterns. Fly patterns that I recommend for you to try after you have a couple more simple patterns under your belt. Last week I tied up the nymph pattern I recommend, which is a hare's ear nymph, and in my opinion, this is the best pattern for someone to try after first learning the zebra mid. And this week, of course, we tied up the rabbit leech, which is great to learn after tying the woolly bugger. And next week I will show you my pick for the dry fly I recommend to tie after learning the foam beetle, and that is the foam hopper. There are many foam hoppers out there, but in my opinion this GFA is the best one to teach you a few more techniques. And it's also fairly easy for the beginner. So make sure you're subscribed and click the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos like this GFA foam hopper. Also, as promised, I want to let you know about the deal I negotiated with Beavis for you all. They want to give you a free bobbin holder, but you have to click the link in the description section of this video. If you want to sign up for their VIP program, which is $99, it will give you a $120 gift card to use in their store and a free shirt, which is already a great deal. But with that link in the description section, they will throw in a free bobbin holder as well. This is a very good bobbin holder, one I really enjoy using. Now, if you don't want to sign up to their VIP program, they can also offer you a 10% discount on anything in their shop just by clicking that link below. Also, check out my sponsor, Risen Fly. They made the hooks and beads I use today, but they also make some of the best fly rods and other gear for the money I have ever used. Best off, they're offering you all a discount as well, so type in McFly at checkout and they will give you 15% off your first order with them. And one last thing, I sell 3 different styles of fly boxes. A magnetic back box that is great for tiny nymphs and dry flies, a silicone back box that is awesome for medium to large nymphs and even small streamers, and an all foam fly box that has enough room in it for large streamers. I also sell hats as well that have an awesome trout pattern on them. I will link below to my Amazon storefront if you're interested in picking up some of my gear. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please click the like button, and this will help the YouTube algorithm suggest this to more people. Also, share my videos with all your fishing friends. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.